Welcome to Pura Vida Profiles. I'm Tony Silva, and this is the online talk show that brings you the essential info about living in Costa Rica. In each episode, we bring you a different guest to discuss those need-to-know topics about living here. Today, my special guest comes from South Germany. His name is Hans Pfister. Hans, welcome.
Hi, Tony. Great to be here.
Good to have you.
Yeah.
I was thinking today about your visit, or actually your journey that you've made from way over in Germany to Costa Rica. How'd you actually get here?
Yeah, it's a long story, but it's interesting. So I grew up in southern Germany. I worked at a luxury resort in the Black Forest, and then I decided to study hotel administration in the United States at Cornell University. Got an opportunity to go there. Studied there, and I met a young woman from Costa Rica. And she's my wife now, mother of 3 children. And for over 20 years, I've been living in Costa Rica now.
Fantastic.
So it went southern Germany, Ithaca, New York, San Jose, Costa Rica.
All right, well, a few stops in the way, right?
Yes.
Now, but I've heard the story of falling in love with a beautiful Costa Rican before.
Yes.
My story too, a little different, of course.
Yeah.
You are in the tourism industry. You have your own company,
Yes.
and it's called Cayuga.
Right.
What does it do?
Yeah. So I met my wife in Ithaca, New York at Cornell, but I also met my business partner there. She's also Costa Rican. Her name's Andrea. And together we have a company called Cayuga. Cayuga is one of the Finger Lakes of there in Ithaca, New York. And we decided that there's an unfulfilled niche of people that own small luxury hotels that with a focus on sustainability that not necessarily want to run those hotels. So we're created a company, like a management company for hotels in this niche that we would run for them. So we do everything, operations, marketing, and that allows them to step back. So by now it's 8 hotels in the Cayuga collection, as we call it. And we work with you guys at Costa Rica Vacations, and it's going very well.
Great. We're actually at one of those hotels in the Cayuga collection, right?
Yes.
Grano de Oro.
At Grano de Oro here in downtown San Jose.
You were just talking about a couple minutes ago about how this has grown too, right? Remember we used to be back in a small little dining room over there, and now they've expanded.
Yeah, certainly. You've been here for also 20 years. Things have changed. Sometimes people complain, "Oh, the good old days." Yeah, the good old days were good, but the new days aren't bad either. Things are good.
Oh, it's a beautiful country. And I know for me, it's been a great place to be able to bring my kids up. You've got family too.
Yes.
Tell me about it.
Our twins were born in Germany when we lived there, and they just turned 18.
Okay.
So they went through school here, a German school, the Humboldt School here in San Jose. So they have it's actually called a trilingual school. So they have German, Spanish, English. They are graduating this year, and then possibly going back to Europe to study. And I also have an 8-year-old daughter who is in 2nd grade, and she's also in the Humboldt School. And so we got a bit of a span there of experiences, but certainly it's definitely great to have kids here. My children probably quite privileged that they are spending quite a bit of time in very nice hotels in remote places here in Costa Rica. My twins, I think the first time they went to the Osa Peninsula and spent time at La Parrillos when I was there working, they were 3 years old. And it's something that really stuck with them. I mean, their love for nature, for the outdoors, for outdoor activities is something that really got passed on, and so I'm very happy about that.
Growing up in Minnesota, there were certain things that I say are typical Minnesota or typical United States. What would you say is the biggest culture difference between Costa Rica and Germany?
I mean,
where do you start?
Yeah, I mean, it's sometimes funny when I look at my parents and my in-laws. They couldn't be more different, right? In terms of how they see life, how they live life, how they organize their lives, and everything. So multicultural marriages are certainly a challenge. And especially Germany and Costa Rica is probably at the opposite sides of the spectrum. So simple things as being on time or really following through of what you're saying and what you're saying that you're going to do, being responsible. Those are things that are very important to Germans. To Costa Ricans, there's an interpretation of that. Time is more fluid. You said you're going to do something. Yeah, you'll do it eventually, but it's not necessarily right away. So. And that's okay. I'm not judging. I'm not saying that one is bad or one is good. It's just different. And I think the key of living in a country like Costa Rica as a German or as a somebody from North is just understanding that difference and adapting to it to a certain degree and not getting frustrated, not trying to put your culture on top of the host culture, so to say.
Yeah, I completely understand that. I think about one of the things about exactly you're talking about time and about things being a lot more laid back here. I think that if I had lived in the States at the rate that I was living, I'd probably be on my third or fourth heart attack by now.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's definitely something that has helped me stay healthier, happier, and just yes, absolutely. I go back to Germany, and you see the rhythm of life. You see the expressions of people when you're in a train or something, and it's not quite the same. So yes, definitely healthy to live here and to learn from that little bit more laid back culture.
What about cost of living? I know that's a big deal for people. People a lot of times think of Central America as this really inexpensive place.
Yeah. No, definitely. I mean, I think Costa Rica, when we arrived here, was probably still considered a third world country, but by now it's not, and especially certain parts of the country are as developed as industrialized nations. There's differences, and Costa Rica is definitely not a cheap destination. We have operations in Nicaragua. We manage a hotel in Nicaragua. And Nicaragua definitely is a lot cheaper in terms of cost of living than Costa Rica. Mm-hmm. But I always say, Costa Rica is expensive if you're trying to imitate a lifestyle from Europe or from North America. If you want to have imported cheeses, if you want to drink wines from abroad, if you're looking for certain clothing, certain standards, certain everything. But if you live like a Costa Rican, or if you go to where the Costa Ricans go, it's actually still there's a good value. There's things that are really not that expensive. But if you compare buying a bottle of wine with a French chef meal in Costa Rica, it's probably more expensive than the same thing in the United States or in Europe, just because of the import taxes and just because of the expertise of that person that needs to come here. So, but then again, very well, you could go walk out this hotel, take a couple of turns, and we can have a great lunch for $4, right? And so, depends. It depends what you're looking for. It can be very expensive, but it can also be a great value.
Speaking about some of the things that you might miss from home, I know that there are certain products that I love that that I need from Minnesota or from the States.
Yeah.
Not even products, but what's the biggest thing you miss from being back in Germany?
Yeah, it's definitely the food sometimes. I'm not complaining about the food here. It's very good, obviously, but I think the certain comfort foods or certain things, certainly like certain beverages from Germany as well.
Certain beers, I'm sure.
Beer, also wine.
Yeah.
But again, I'm very lucky. There's a German butcher here in Costa Rica for many years. Makes very, very good cold cuts and certain things. So I've been able to kind of get my bits and pieces of German food here, and then we like to cook at home. And of course, every time we go to Germany, we bring back certain ingredients. And Spätzle is something really important from southern Germany, and so enjoy that a lot. But yes, I think always miss friends, family. One thing that I miss tremendously is skiing. Great mountains here, but no snow. so one of the things that I enjoy, and I was just back now in March, is skiing. The seasons is something that sometimes, especially in the beginning, I missed. I think fall is my favorite season, and I miss it. What else? I guess the first years of celebrating Christmas here were kind of strange. You know,
Right.
the weather, it's
Expecting
warm.
snow, right?
You know, you're wearing a T-shirt, and you know you're missing that. And in Germany, Christmas is a little bit more tranquil. It's a more, you know, yeah, it's not as party. You know, so here it's fireworks, dancing salsa. You know, chips and salsa. It's a different concept than Christmas in a small town in southern Germany. But again, you adapt, and now I probably would have a hard time readapting to the German Christmas, and maybe bring some of the, you know, traditions back. So I always tell my wife, you know, how great our children, right, that can pick the best from each culture. You know, they can, you know, I like this, this one not so much, so they can kind of pick and choose, and how great is that?
That's fantastic. Yeah. You were talking about your butcher, and so he's originally from Germany, right?
Yes.
What about your expat community? Have you been able to find different Germans around here?
Well, actually, I'm an expat that's really not looking for expats. You know, so I'm really I know there's sometimes Facebook groups advertising, you know, expats in Costa Rica and this and that. So even with Germans, I'm not really friends with a whole lot of Germans. You know, of course, there's connections through school, through church. There's a German Lutheran church here. You know,
Okay.
So where the boys got confirmed and my daughter got baptized. So there's some connections to some Germans, but I actually am not the person that needs to be part of an expat community. I feel very comfortable, you know, intermingling with Costa Ricans, and if there's expats there, you know, of course, you know, and we get all together. I mean, with you guys and Casey, Richard, Adam, you know, all foreigners, but I think we're all pretty integrated. You know, I think it's not a matter of we kind of stick to our groups. I think you know, through our work, you know, interacting with Costa Rican employees, I think it's better. You know, I wouldn't want to be in a country and just be stuck with expats. You know, why would I be in the country then?
Right. Sure. Before you came down here, well, you probably didn't know a whole lot about Costa Rica.
Yeah, before I met my wife, I have to admit I knew about Panama and Nicaragua out of the news, but Costa Rica was kind of like not so well known, and I feel kind of bad saying that now. You know, that it's such a big part of my life, but yes, before 1993, Costa Rica didn't really, you know, figure for me. And I'm somebody that's interested in traveling and geography, but it really is not a country that's made the news a whole lot.
Well, yeah, I guess the reason I ask is because, you know, some of the people wonder before going to a new country, they'd like to know something. What's something that you didn't know that you wish you would have had known before you came?
I don't know. Before I came to Costa Rica, I did an internship in Hong Kong. I worked in a hotel there, and that was culture shock. I mean, that was really. I lived in with the locals, and it was really, really culture shock. So when I actually came to Costa Rica after that, it felt very Western. It felt very familiar.
Yeah.
So I don't think there were really things that shocked me tremendously or that I didn't know about. I think it was you know, I used to read a lot of literature about Latin America, so maybe that prepared me to a certain degree, but there wasn't really any big surprises or anything that stuck out that I wish I would have known. Usually when I go into a new experience, I try to keep my expectations low, and therefore I enjoy it.
Wow, jeez, that looks like it's a good way of living, I guess. Pretty smart.
It helps.
What's your favorite part of Costa Rica?
My geographically,
Just in general. Yeah, both.
Yeah, I think
geographically, and then also just.
I think definitely one of the greatest things of Costa Rica is its people. You know, the Pura Vida that comes out through people. You know, through every interaction, is definitely one of the greatest things. It's what our the tourists that come to visit Costa Rica, you know, point out. You know, it's just people are so friendly, so open, so happy. Well, happiest country in the world, right? So that's definitely a big one. I love the Osa Peninsula. I think it's just an absolutely magical part of the country. It's also where our first lodge that we manage, La Parrillos, is located, so I have a very special relationship there as well. But then what's also so special is just the variety. I mentioned the Osa Peninsula, but then there's this mountain, Chiripo, which is, go up there and it's colder than in Germany, and and there's the volcanoes, the two coastlines that are so different. You go to the Caribbean and you feel like you're in a different country, and then go up to Guanacaste and then the beaches, and just so much variety. And I remember when I first moved here, with my wife, we weren't married yet, we would just hop on buses and explore the country and go to different places, and it was really nice, and it's so easy to get around, and so safe, also, I mean, you gotta be careful like everywhere, but it's still safe to hop on a bus or to rent a car or to just get around. So I guess I also like that it's a small country. It feels cozy. It feels not. So between the people and the smallness of the country, the happiness, safety, political. There's no political turmoil. When you read the newspaper here, what's going on in terms of politics. It's like very cute, compared to what's going on in other parts of the world. So, but that's nice. It's one less thing to worry about, right? You can focus on other things.
That's great. That's great. Well, I really appreciate you coming and meet with us today. It's been great to get to know you a little better. Actually, I learned a few things I didn't know about you, and I've known you for quite some time.
Yes.
So, thanks again for coming.
Thank you, Tony.
All right.
All right.
Thanks for joining us today. Please be sure to subscribe to keep up to date. I'm Tony Silva, and see you next time on Pura Vida Profiles.